You know, I'm on a journey where I want to grow as much as possible. I mean, obviously, not all the time because it's painful also, but I think it's important to try something new every day. And today I made the decision that I was going to sit in that corner, in this new corner, spice things up a bit, some ketchup in it. No, not ketchup. Ketchup is not a spice.
What's ketchup? Oh, I guess it's sauce. But it's not really a sauce because you can't eat it. Oh, condiment?
Anyways, I was thinking about my back to school 2020. And I mean, it's grad school. Like a few months ago, I was like, oh, I wonder what's the difference between undergrad and grad school. Like, it's just school, but like on a deeper level, I guess, because it's like you choose, well, not for every master's, but yeah, you choose the topic to like you choose the topic on which you want to deepen your understanding, I'm guessing. Well, that's what I did. I was talking to my friend who's currently doing her master's, and I was like, yeah, so give me some tips. And we just ended up talking about like scheduling and making to-do lists. And that's something that's been on my mind, especially with my puppy. Like I started doing this schedule and it's been refreshing. Like it helps to know where I'm going, to know like, okay, that's the time that we need to do this and stuff. And I said in another video how like having that stability allows for flexibility, like that's a kind of foundation. And like I'm doing an interdisciplinary master, so I created my program. I'm still creating it. And is that too much glare? I don't know. I'll just take them off. I can't see you. So sorry. So blurry. But yeah, I created my own program. So I have to create my own schedule. And like there's a course that I basically created also with a professor. So it's like I have to reach out and then I'm also a research assistant. And of course, it's following my supervisor's research, but I have to just do my part and organize myself. So I have a lot of responsibilities and it can be quite overwhelming, but I guess that's what it is to be independent. I actually okay, so before this, I was taking notes of like my reflections and I was just like I didn't even expect to get where I got, but bear with me. Now that I'm not working and the center is grad life in my school and myself, I have to create my whole life schedule. All my life, I've either been going to school, going to work, or doing both. I mean, did I actually have a moment where I wasn't working or wasn't going to school? I can't even remember. Shit. I mean, if I'm traveling or something like that, I don't know. Maybe a few weeks. But honestly, I started working when I was 14. So it's been a while. In school, I mean, we started at what age? From elementary school, and it goes until like, I don't know when. So it's like I always had a set schedule where that I could rely on. That was the stability. Even if it was all over the place, it was still like I had to fulfill those hours or I had to go in at that moment and having to figure it out, like figure the rest out. And even if like I ran projects outside of work or school or both, still, you know what I mean? Like I had to be like, oh, I can't that day because I work and then I have to do this and I have to do that. And that I could do. But it's like weird that I am at the center of my own life and I have to just, it's all me. It's all me. Like I don't have to rely on a system. And it's scary because I have to be at my pizza. Ooh, almost burnt. Right, when there's a system, I depend on it. But right now, I depend on myself. So I have to be accountable to myself. And there's no more excuses, you know? Like, if I don't get to do something, I can't be like, I was too drained from work, and then blah, 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 and then blah, blah, blah. I mean, of course, you know, stuff happens in life, and I have to address things. I don't know whether it's like mental health or a crisis with like a loved one or whatever. But still, I can fit it in my schedule. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just like, and it's kind of like becoming an adult. Like you just become it, right? Like you have all these responsibilities, all of a sudden these bills and stuff. And sometimes I forget that I'm an adult and it's like, oh yeah, I have to call the insurance. I have to make an appointment at the dentist. It's like, yeah, it's a journey. I think it's important. Like I even bought this planner. Ooh, I didn't know it was gonna be this thick. Getting thick on you hoes. What? Thick.
Moleskin. I love them.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be helpful. No, not I think. I know it's gonna be helpful, even daily, to be like, okay, around that time, I want to do this, I want to do that, and it's gonna help, but to feel prepared, you know, like something that I learned when I was running. Well, yeah, when I was running workshops is having a clear objectives or vision. It helps to kind of feel more laid back during the workshop, and it helps to have a clear process where I can just be in the moment. You know, like before I could be like, let's just go with the flow and let's just see where it goes and whatever. Then during the workshop, I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know. It's like I couldn't be fully there, you know? And of course, it depends. It's very subjective. Like sometimes it's better just to like not prepare and see where things go. But still, I think it's important to have a vision, you know, like in being intentional in a way. Even if it's not set in stone, I mean, I'm thinking of going with the flow when there's an intention. I just want to be I just want to be intentional. I just want to be like mindful of what I do, you know? Like I don't want to just like go through life just like that. And you know, that's also something that I've learned through um entanglements. Entanglement. I can't really call them relationships, but I mean a little bit, but anyways, you know, being involved with someone and then feelings start coming up and then being like, let's just go with the flow. I don't know what I'm looking for. Let's just go with the flow and see where this goes. You know, like I love this feeling. I just want to be in the moment and live it fully. Sure, but I'm not 18 anymore. And you know, while I was doing that, I was basically suppressing deep down what I really wanted. Because it's kind of like, yeah, I was in denial that I also had needs, I also had wants, I also mattered, you know? But I think that's also another cycle of putting myself, like erasing myself from the equation and being in a situation just going with the flow because that's what we said or that's what the person said. And I'm like, oh my gosh, deep down, you know, what I was in denial about was like, oh, if we don't go with the flow, then this is the end, or this person might not be into it or not like me anymore. So let's just go with the flow. And that creates a lot of anxiety because when you don't know where you're going, it's hard to figure out where you are right now in a way. Like, I remember feeling like, oh, should I be jealous or should I feel uncomfortable with this? Like, it was hard to establish boundaries. That's what I meant. Yeah, going with the flow, not being sure what we were doing romantically. It was hard to establish boundaries because it's like what's okay, what's not okay. I mean, obviously, we all have boundaries, but in terms of like the relationship. Yeah, so those were my reflections, and I did not expect it to go in the direction of relationships or like just love in general, but I just gotta put myself at the center, really. Because when I self sabotage, it's basically, again, me erasing myself from the equation, like me not even giving myself the chance to see that I matter, what I want matters. So, yeah, to me, it's such a big step to be able to like the fact that I took so long and that I applied to for this master's and that I got in, and it's huge that I left work, like all these steps that I've been taking along the way, like it means something. So I don't want to mess it up. I want to try to do my best. And of course, there's going to be ups and downs. And even if I'm thinking of scheduling, like, I'm already kind of messing up. Like, tomorrow's Monday and I haven't, this is still empty. But I want to do it today. You know, it's like I'm going with the flow with the objectives that I've set for myself. It's kind of like, at the beginning of the year, or like for me, the beginning of the year is like when like my birthday starts, kind of like the school year, I guess, because going to school, it's that vision. Yeah, like setting goals or intentions for the year, and it's like whatever happens, happens, right? But there's that thing to always come back to be accountable. I think it's so important to be accountable, taking ownership, agency. Like, I have a say in this. That was it, live from this corner.